Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome back to the NALCS Countdown, where we're about 14 minutes away from Champion Select. And while we've weighed in on what it's like to analyze League on 8-11, some pros chimed in to tell us what it's like to play through it.
Personally, I love the new patch.
Every role is like right now seems pretty fun. It's definitely like the most revolutionary patch.
No one really knows what's really going on.
So on patch 8.11, they nerfed a lot of the base stats of AD carries, and then people realized that you can actually just pick bruisers and go bottom lane.
I think at home AD carries are playing just AD carry, not bruisers.
If you stagnate and you're not willing to adapt, then you're probably gonna get run over. You're gonna see me on some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I already know how to play the champs because actually I had an account where I was practicing a ton of Yasuo.
Whenever I'm off-rolled in solo queue, I just play Talia middle, and so I'd like to say I'm probably the best Talia in LCS as a jungler.
You play a support mid, your jungle is like a hyper carry, and then the jungler takes all the farm, and then at one point he's just so strong.
I don't usually play supports in mid lane.
It seems kind of relaxing for me because I don't have to like lane, you know, I can just walk around with Braum and just, you know, get some stacks.
There's also that like Karthus Nunu.
I think certain players will probably like swap around.
So I said I was a better Karthus than Phoenix when we started, so I played Karthus in the first Karthus Nunu. I'm the Nunu now.
You pick a champion, let's say Aurelia, and then enemy picks Renekton, and you're like, damn, this is really bad. I can't win this, right? Should we take the Aurelia top lane, AD carry, jungle, and just like get me out of the lane, right?
Everything can go everywhere.
I've played against everything.
I don't know what's going on, you know.
Well, you could pretty much see the panic in all of their eyes, too.
Biofrost in particular was like, I don't know what's happening.
I have no idea what to play. I love Dardoch.
Yeah.
We started, I played the Karthus. I now play the new one. That's pretty great.
You figured it out.
All right, well, while 8.11 will be cited as the patch where all the changes became evident, the current state of the game can hardly be attributed to that single set of patch notes.
Yeah, and I like how people are saying that this is patch 8.11, when really 8.11 is the straw that broke the camel's back of all of these changes that had contributed to the current state. All the way back to Spring Split, patch 8.4, the game was too slow. So there were some changes to try and speed it up. Baron buff gives much more attack damage and ability power, and there was a bug fix to the way siege minions work to actually properly apply the damage granted from Baron and the damage granted from Banner of Command. That helps kill turrets and accelerate games. Patch 8.9 as well. Rift Herald was changed, does more damage to turrets, can charge more often and still do a bunch of damage. And there were mage changes in here that not only modified wave clear a little bit, but also allowed them to do much more damage to turrets on auto attacks because it gave them AP scaling, applying magic damage, and using some of their magic pen. Continue to go on to patch 8.10. More changes that can make the game snowball harder, mostly in the jungle. The Scuttle Crab used to give 10 experience at all stages of the game. Now at level 9, it gives 230 experience. It's injecting experience into the system. There were more systemic changes in that patch as well, where kill bounties at 1 and 2 kills, when you killed that person back, the team would just get gold. It prevented games from running away from you.
There was that rubber banding.
Yeah. You don't have that now until you're at 3 kills, and it's still less gold than it used to be, as well as when you're killing jungle camps, you're no longer punished for being a higher level than the jungle camp, and you get full experience. It used to be 5% less experience per level you were above. So by the end of it,
you get that lead,
you'll be getting way less,
that lead.
And you extend it. So that's why we're seeing some of those super strategies get level 18 when everyone else is level 12.
Brings us to 8.11.
And then finally, with the game already being faster, with there already being other ways to kill turrets, you don't need an AD carry for that. AD carries were also nerfed in the laning phase, with the item changes turning crit on later in what's already a faster game. And that's what's actually bringing everything back into the bottom lane.
Yeah, marksmen hadn't had great matchups against a lot of bruisers for a long time anyways. You remember kill lanes way back in the day. Now they just have a lot more tools to actually end the game because you won't get outscaled by those marksmen who also got nerfed.
All right, so of what you saw yesterday, what did you like and or dislike from the teams in terms of the way they played, considering all of these changes that have come through over the past months?
Yeah, I liked most positionless League of Legends, the idea of role swapping instead of champ swapping. And then I also did like when you're still playing what you're good at, like Double If Saya, I thought was one of the best champs of the day because he knew what to do with it and what his role was going to be and how modified it was.
For me, it would be just the draft flexibility, not just in terms of players picking champs that they're not used to playing, but of those champs, they can go anywhere. So the CLG game where they had the Braum that could have gone mid lane, ended up going bottom. Just the fact that even with the same 5 champions, you can end up with different drafts is very cool to me.
Dislikes?
Compositions that lack to carry. So that are still missing some of the fundamental things. We say you don't need a marksman to kill turrets. You still need damage dealers to kill the people with lots of health. And there were some compositions that missed that when we saw Mundo Trunnel running over a composition that really had a very, very narrowing condition. So you still need to keep in mind that you need a tank killer even if it's not an AD carry.
For me, the snowballs, all this adding up, it's a little much. And I would love to keep the draft flexibility while getting down some of the snowballing that's occurring with all these changes.
So finding that middle ground where games aren't averaging, end times around 25 minutes, there still is the ability, though, to pick those kind of crazy champions, bruisers going bot or bruisers going mid. Now, with virtually any pick having a window of viability, please tweet to us using the hashtag NALCS. Which champion would you like to see in pro play? I'll challenge these two to make that champ work. Now, amidst all of the craziness that's been happening in the meta, it's still a team game, and yesterday's Optics Dokla took a stroll down the river just to say, I'm helping, presented by State Farm.
But it looks like no flash on Dokla, who wants to set this play up here against Mickey, does manage to find the knockup. There's your follow-up, there's your ignite, your ulti comes through, and Power of Evil shows him the power of Victor.
I have prio top, I can rotate.
Yeah, do it now, do it now.
There's a pink here too. I'm moving now, okay?
Okay.
I'm looking.
I'm moving.
Run to tipping bot.
That's it, I can't help. I think you kill him off that.
I got him.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Nice, good shit. Good shit, brother.
Brother. I just love that. But yeah, it was really cool to hear Dokla talking, way before that play. What should I do with this extra bit of free time that I bought myself by getting priority in the lane? Good to see a young player thinking ahead.
Absolutely, the kind of communication that can really benefit your team, especially when you're looking at a lot of things like we're looking at a lot of lanes in isolation right now because of the possibility of 2v2 kills and 1v1 kills within this meta. It's like, don't forget that you can still roam. You can still put your other laners ahead by helping them out. Now, before I hand off the reins, it's no secret that Jat Stats tested my mental fortitude. Damn it! Damn it! What? I swear to God! But it's a new split, and I'm coming into this with a whole new positive mentality, can-do attitude. You're getting a look at the glass half full, can get them all right dash. So let's get things going with the summer's first edition of Jat Stats. To the telly.
Ooh, this is funky.
Aren't you gonna dance, Mark?
Yeah. No,
come on, Mark.
I'm very aware of my deficiencies in life, and dancing is one of them.
I love it. Here we go.
Hey, we're in there.
Yeah, we made it. We made it.
Yeah.
We made it. All right.
Fun.
All right. Well, Jad, take it away. Let's go.
We got some stats today. So you're talking about consecutive games played in the LCS, right?
Yep.
Who is 11th in consecutive games? And I have a really good hint for you. It's not anyone who's on this graphic in the top 10. We have this graphic, I swear to God, please. There it is.
So
it's none of these 10 players. Who is 11th in consecutive games played?
Consecutive games played, and it doesn't.
It's consecutive.
It's not current. It's not current.
It can be all time. It doesn't have to be an active streak because we know Sneaky has the most. That's no longer an active streak. It was broken yesterday.
Right.
Is it Turtle? He's played a ton of games.
Turtle's a good call.
I'm gonna go Turtle.
Apollo's already up there. I was gonna say that would be my guess. I'm gonna go with.
Can-do attitude. Who's it gonna be?
Can-do. Yeah, right. The can-do attitude. Let's go with. God, I really wanted to go with.
Just go.
Why am I blanking on every other player in the game?
Smithy go with Wild Turtle.
Ooh, Smithy. I like Smithy.
Yeah, I'm
gonna go with Smithy.
All right, Turtle like Smithy. The answer actually is Kiwi Kid. Of all players, we're gonna get the Kiwi Kid answer in there sometime. We found one.
Wow.
237
the answer's always
starts.
Kiwi Kid.
Happy birthday, Kiwi. It's not his birthday.
It's not his birthday.
But he made it into the show. I've wanted to do this for so long. Question 2 has to do with champion pool. It's a multiple choice question. We're talking about a lot of all-time leaders. Which player has the largest champion pool in NA LCS history? Has played the most champions?
I mean, I feel like
multiple choice.
Do I? Oh, it's multiple.
Darshan, High, Pobelter, Bjergsen. or Kiwi Kid?
I'm actually a little mad that you guys didn't put Huhi on this graphic simply because
He's only played for a couple
claims he
years.
has a champion Ocean.
Yeah.
So Kiwi Kid's tempting because he has role swapped, but I'll go with a player that.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Well, I'll play with the player who's played longer and is
High is
also
my
role
other
swapped
guess.
with High. Yeah, that's what I was
High's
gonna
my
say.
guess because he's played jungle support and mid.
That's true. It's Darshan.
Ah.
What?
NALCS Player Association president, also most games
What can't
all
this man
time.
do?
What can he do?
I mean, he is aided
Played
by the number of
52
games he's
champions,
played.
apparently.
He's played
because
50?
he's played 51 unique champions in his NALCS.
I want to look at that list.
Top lane's crazy, man.
That's a lot of champs.
80 carries, complaining. I have to play something new.
Final question. Speaking of 80 carries playing something new, we got a DPM question.
Oh.
Across the EU and NALCS, which players this split have the lowest damage per minute across NNU? We got multiple choice. Reckless, Afromoo,
It's reckless.
or Broxton.
It's reckless. It's reckless.
It's A, reckless. It has to be.
He had 700 damage in like a 35-minute game.
You know who else is on his team, though? Broxa.
And he's lower?
And he's lower.
How are you lower than like a 700 damage Karma?
27 damage per minute through 2 games. So both Broxa and Reckless have lower damage per minute than any NALCS player.
Actually, I can see it simply
Including
because
supports.
Brox is relegated to jungle. Like at least
doesn't even get to interact with other
Reckless
people.
does 700 damage in lane phase with his Karma.
I guess. I mean,
That's
either
it.
way.
Oh
it's-
my
it's
goodness.
sad.
Yeah, those guys.
All right.
they didn't-
We were
catch-
close. We're on the
Love
right
the new
team.
patch, guys. Love it.
Okay, before we jump into predictions, we have some unfinished business. Jat, I have to walk off camera real quick to grab this. Jat was the winner of last split's predictions. So he will be awarded the victory prize of the prediction pineapple,
Thank you
sir.
very much. I'm proud.
Congratulations.
This can carry on for generations, much like the Stanley Cup.
We've
I
been
like
holding on to that for a while.
Yeah, I
How
bought
jealous
this.
are you right now?
It's
You see
clutter.
this?
I'm
This
glad
is
I
the-
didn't win.
This
I
is
don't
the
want-
face of jealousy.
I don't want random
This
crap
is it,
in my apartment.
right here. You better step it up this split.
I'll
man.
lose again if that's the reward.
€6.
She's just going to start throwing it. All right, with the
€6.
holiday, we're integrating some predictions from people far wiser than we are, our dads, in a special My Dad Can Beat Your Dad edition of predictions. Let's see how your predictions line up with your dad's as well. But first, from the three of us, here we go.
Did your dads, are they in cahoots?
Wait,
Woo!
nice. Your dad's smart.
I think our dads are wiser
It's
than
pretty
Jat's
similar,
dad.
though.
I think
Jat's
that's,
dad's only one different.
Yeah.
CLG.
All right,
been
so
watching for a while.
comparing your guys' picks
just bought your hype train
to
from
your
last year.
dad's picks, let's
see
see
'em.
how closely you align with your father's.
I go the exact same.
Well,
Jat, the
You
loyalty.
betrayed your
Our
dad.
predictions
Clearly, loyalty is not an
today are
attribute
very
of
similar.
the,
I
of
feel
the
like you
Leafs.
helped your dad out or something.
No, that my dad came up with those. He
My dad will
watches the
beat your
league.
dad with that CLG win. I don't care if my dad destroys
All right,
me.
well, along,
it's Father's
along
Day. You
with
couldn't give
Just
him the gift.
Stars, we got some of the casting team to hit up their dads, and we'll be tracking whose dad comes closest to catching Uzi, Ming, and Bang by the end of the day. Of course, Avali, Captain Flowers, Azael even reaching out to his father.
Happy Father's
Riv,
Day.
the dad with the glorious mustache.
Is
You
which
can
one,
see
which
his
one is
dad
your
with
dad?
that.
Which one of those two is your dad?
Well, that's my dad and Dark Dash's
Oh, okay.
dad. Yeah, they met up
Yeah. I
for
feel
a
like
Duke
everyone
game
except
earlier
for
in the
Mark,
year.
you can really see the resemblance.
You don't see it right
Dad
here.
is just much better looking. Like, that's the main thing.
I'll grow my hair out, all right?
Oh, man. All right. Well, that brings us to our first game of the day, TSM FlyQuest. Obviously, you guys both predicted TSM, so we've got nothing less to talk about. We're going to toss it out to the casters to get into the games.
Thank you very much, Dash, and welcome to game one of the day, everybody. I'm Reverend Biz III, and joined by the never mean, very clean Zyrene, Mr. Aiden Moon. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Absolutely. Happy Father's Day, Zyrene.
Not yet. Not yet.
Dad, so many. We are on 8-11, and we are about to see some more mayhem, some more chaos hit the rift as we have TSM taking on FlyQuest for our first match of the day.
Yeah, and I'm excited about this one in particular because TSM, they showed pretty much a standard style, what we'd call traditional, where Sven was on a carry marksman and waited for the late game. They had one of the longest games yesterday. It was the second longest one, about 42 minutes. So when you get to those 3-item power spikes, the marksmen look really good. And that seems like TSM, I wonder if they're going to continue with that style because it did net them a victory. And they have been a slow team, especially since they brought on both Sven and Mithy, who like to play a little passive. But they're up against Wild Turtle and Quan, who played kind of off what you would call the traditional meta there, played the Swain Mage, and then they also played Tom Kench. And now I wonder if the Yasuo will come out today for Wild Turtle, because he even said it in that clip we saw earlier, that he has like a secret Yasuo account that he likes to just play on all the time. I wonder if it'll get banned away or if he'll have the opportunity to pick it.
That's the thing. Why tell people? Because now they will. Or maybe they'll see if it can hit the rift with the impact Turtle says it has. Zoe, Tarek are the first bans coming from FlyQuest. They kind of kill out the gold funneling onto Yi situation this game. And Nocturne getting taken out as he seems more playtime being able to activate those fights from across the map.
Yeah, especially with the buff to the ultimate, he's just been fantastic. People taking lethal tempo on him as well, so that when you fear somebody, you just get to slice away at them. And I like this from FlyQuest. They actually leave Aurelia up, who I think is one of the more banned champions. I think it's second behind Talia, who's banned pretty much every game globally. Aurelia, and then you also have Camille and Yasuo are all up. So you'll get at least 2 of those champions if you want them, but the Aurelia is snatched up there by TSM, something Bjergsen actually played yesterday.
Yes, he did. He played it against Keen's Lulu. Ooh.
And the brand comes out already.
Oh, he didn't play against Keen's Lulu. I apologize. He played it against Renekton of Huhi.
Yes.
In my matchup of stats I have on my screen.
Yes. And the brand comes out for Wild Turtle on the bottom side. Braum is a big counter to Brand because he can go ahead and block the Pyroclasm, so that may come out for TSM for Mithy. And we know he loves Tom Kench, Braum, those champions that he kind of defaults to all the time. So I'm expecting a Braum to come out here for TSM in this round of picks.
Greg possibly playing it safe with the Trundle. He doesn't go many more places than the jungle right now, so they'll be getting a for sure lock in there, seeing the Xin Zhao on the other side of the table. What else will be the last pick here for phase 1 of TSM? 1-0 to start things off on the split. FlyQuest 0-1, so they're looking to pick up something they can feel comfortable with, get into a good fight. They looked good yesterday still with the whole Keen on Lulu and whatnot. And Mundo going to the top side for Haunter. He was on Aatrox yesterday. This time he's going to be a bit tankier.
Yeah, Mundo, fantastic. Got buffs to his ultimate so that at all stages he heals a lot more HP. And also just people have realized, hey, you can go with a Titanic Hydra build on him, get a Tiamat, wave clear, and he really does push a lot of those, he pushes a lot of the tanks out of the top lane, but also he's really good in team fights at soaking damage. And if people aren't playing Marksman for consistent DPS, it's very difficult to deal with a Dr. Mundo who's running around.
So that second phase brings us, that brand was banned away from FlyQuest yesterday, so see how well they can use it here now that they get their hands on something they feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
First ban, as they let it tick down, they say we're hitting Mithy down towards the support bans.
I would expect Alistar, Braum to be the 2 bans here to come out. I thought the Braum would be selected for TSM as the counter to the brand, but there is still opportunity for them to pivot and go with something like a Yasuo with Wind Wall that would block Pyroclasm as well. So
true. We also don't see Ornn really in this matchup too much yet. If those walls are down, you get a lot of things you can start throwing at the other team. Get these fights going. There's the Renekton. Taken away. Probably Keen as well. He has a huge champion pool. Such a quiet player, but he can make an impact in a game.
Yeah, Keen back in the day was the guy who was playing Urgot into a lot of matchups mid, into Zed, playing the Jarvan into the AP Ezreal back when it was a thing. And I wonder if this is kind of a meta where Keen gets to shine and bring out all of these pocket picks and things like a Renekton that you would play mid lane into the Aurelia to counter it, because he's the guy who always has that extra kind of card up his sleeve that he can play and pull out in a trump situation.
You know what I absolutely love here? If they do get the Ornn, if TSM grabs Braum, then you have those projectiles. Ornns can always mess with the Forge God. Call it up, the Braum turns backwards to block that. You have an open back, no unbreakable shield to hit. We see a lot of Ornns kind of abusing that, and Braum's trying to figure out which end of this do I block? How many projectiles are actually coming?
Yeah, I think it's usually better to actually block the first part.
Yeah, right. You don't apply the knock up.
He can, unless everybody is grouped up, then it's better to block the second part, but the slow will still come out. And the GP
real quick too.
I like it because the Aatrox is banned, and Aatrox is one of the best counters to the Gangplank in the top lane. And if it's GP versus Mundo, that's a pretty good matchup for the GP early on, and it gives you a mixed damage palette. Because remember, FlyQuest yesterday, they ended up having a team composition that really didn't have as much damage as they would like. Now you have a very strong physical damage source with Gangplank, and you also have magic damage from the brand.
Possible Tom Kench lock-in here. This was Quan's lock-in yesterday, so he's snagging that up. Also safety for Sven here on his decision to build up that Rage Bait and possibly also go the AP build. We see Kai'Sa and the Varus is going for that now, and Mithy does lock in that Tom Kench.
Yeah, this is actually quite interesting to me because FlyQuest's bottom lane looks like it's going to be Brand, plus Nautilus. And so what this does is it's the point and click into the ultimate from Brand. So you want Braum to go ahead and block the Pyroclasm in the team fights, but you want the Tahm Kench to eat whoever Nautilus is going after with a hook or his ultimate. So you kind of had to pick between the two, and they ended up going with Mithy on the Tahm Kench. And Sven, like you said, on the Varus. This means he's a very easy target to hit. His positioning is really going to matter here. And he's probably going AP, which means he may get a Zhonya's 4th item, which will keep him safe in team fights. But TSM have to make it there because they've once again picked the traditional marksman type composition versus mixed damage here from FlyQuest. And I think that's a GP mid here.
As they switch, 12 seconds left on that. Not a lot of hard crowd control ever from this TSM composition words. As they get this composition together, will definitely be able to get themselves around and break CC in the fights. Just kind of be meatballs with that Tahm Kench, with that Trundle, and that Mundo, making great defensive walls for Varus and Aurelia. But we'll have to see if it works out. A lot of power, a lot of crowd control coming from this FlyQuest composition. They look ready to go off the bat, and that's what we've been talking about. Is TSM still falling into this? We're going to go a little bit late game. We'll play our style. No matter the patch, we'll flex a little bit, but we'll never bend.
I mean, if TSM make it there, they have a beefy composition. The Dr. Mundo, the Trundle, Aurelia, the Tahm Kench. There are a lot of meatballs that you have to be able to grind through in this comp.
Sauce them up.
Exactly. The FlyQuest, they have the damage. The Darius for the Bruiser top, the Xin Zhao, the GP, the Brand. Everybody is bringing a lot of damage to the table here, and they have 2 Ignites on their team. So they are more than ready to deal with Dr. Mundo and Trundle in the late game. But the question is can they get an early advantage? Because you pick that Mage bottom or the Bruiser top to try and get something early.
Day 2, game 1, TSM versus FlyQuest. We are on the Rift. And it is going to be new junglers for these teams, as we have seen teams switching things up. Greg for TSM, Santorin for FlyQuest, so we'll keep a bit of an eye there. But also just on these compositions, there will be so much to look at. So prepare yourselves.
Yeah, I'm preparing myself right now, thinking about what's going to be the most important thing in this game. And like you said, I think the junglers mean a lot here. Santorin, he was a little bit behind yesterday, but granted, Wild Turtle and Quan died level 1, right, and got caught out. And so he really didn't have a side of the map to play on. Yeah. His top side got dove, and his jungle was getting stolen. So Santorin had a bad game yesterday, trying to make up for that here. And Grig had a bad start yesterday, but TSM were able to come back from a 5,000 gold deficit. But the junglers looking for the people on who they're going to enable in these side lanes. Actually interesting, Sven went with heal instead of teleport. You're pretty much always seeing teleport now on marksmen because their base stats aren't as good.
You just get knocked out of lane.
And fleet footwork, because you typically will see lethal tempo now or press the attack because fleet footwork got nerfed. So Sven is even just kind of reverting back to what TSM or even marksmen were just playing before. And I'm interested to see what this looks like at like level 3 or 4, because that's typically when marksmen feel the biggest power trough compared to last time. But right now, level 1's coming in. It's going to be a party on this top side. Everybody's going to be here. This is 4 people. This is 4 people for TSM and FlyQuest.
Monster and Grig up front. Mithy, I'm watching him right now. He's waiting to grab a skill, whether he can slow or needs to devour somebody for safety. So they just get in for wards. They're playing this one safe with no real intentions yet, unless something happens other than that ward. Grig seems like he wants to stay, though. Looks like Mithy will, too. They say, oh, okay, we're going to have Turtle versus Ven bot 1v1. We can afford to have these guys up top. We're not losing any pressure. And it looks like they are going to be able to push off Santorin on that Xin Zhao. Early aggression jungler, not getting everything that he wants.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is Flame. Looked like he said, I have to go to lane. Because the wave is stacking up. He's going to miss CS. And he got divided from the team, and they don't have vision of the brush. So the kind of positioning is what made it so they had to sacrifice that.
Walking down through lane. Hey, how's it going?
But wait, Greg. The question is, do they go to the other side here and invade at the blue buff because they have a level 2 Trundle?
Please do. These are the things I want to see. Scuttle's still big, so they may stop to go forward that. Usually it is what we see people turn to after a few levels of messing around in the jungle. Still at level 1s and 2, though, here. So the early game says maybe too much pressure to put ourselves that far in. Let's go to the laning phase, start getting that scaling going.
Yeah, it's all about who would get to the lane first.
Right.
Saw Bjergsen got to that mid lane, 10 CS up already, has a wave that's kind of stacked against Keen, but he's level 3, and that could mean a lot.
In for the first attacks.
Nice.
Blade surges left, but he's going to use those to get himself to a safe position in and out. under that turret without taking any shots.
Yeah, but Keen's already out of mana here, and he doesn't have teleport on this GP. He's gone for having the ignite up against Bjergsen, who has TP. So Bjergsen's fine to back with the 24 CS, the large CS advantage he's already got for himself. Walk back, TP back, whichever he really wants to do here, and put pressure on.
So is there a time that they push hard, he tries to just barrel a wave, him and Flame switch?
I don't know, because I don't think he... I feel like he had that opportunity level 1 to do that. I don't think they have switching in mind. Because you could, but I don't think that's what they're thinking.
Right.
Instead, they're trying to play off the Darius versus Mundo matchup and pressure and get Santorin a blue buff to even up the camps.
This actually affects Grig quite a bit. He uses the last bit of mana on this Wolf camp, would expect to have his blue shortly after, but he's going to say, whoops, I'm a little short on resources, so probably be able to still grab Gromp and head home unless he makes himself apparent in the jungle. Flawless duet shuts down Keen for a moment, but a nice wave coming in for Bjergsen.
Yeah, that was good from Santorin because he had to unfreeze the wave because Bjergsen would hold it at the 3/4 area and just wait there and stack it. So he kind of had to show up, throw out the W on the Xin Zhao and make sure that the wave isn't frozen because there's a large CS advantage for Bjergsen, and there's also the fact that Keen really didn't have any mana to push if it got frozen.
Ooh, watching for that gray shield to come in. Turtle's gonna back off here. Nice done. Mithy's just gonna actually let that health creep back up a little bit for himself so he gets a lot of damage, has to use that gray health.
But it also means the gray health isn't gonna regen for him, so now he's sitting at that really low HP mark, and he has to blow those potions.
And I was just about to kind of pose the question too. Do you go for this bot lane? It's a kill bot. They are gonna have a lot of pressure. They can even take a 3v2 in some instances, and we see you probably don't want to mess with that. The 2v2 goes very poorly as Quan hits Ignite. 5 minutes into the game, 47-26 in this bit.
Yeah, it's not looking very good for Keen.
Oh,
very rough. He also missed a cannon minion in the previous wave, so
yeah,
he's down, what, 20 CS right now? Down about 300 gold, and the pressure is just going to be more for Bjergsen because he got the TP back off. He got a little bit of that momentum into the lane, and then it forced Keen to take a bad recall.
As long as he can dodge a few of these barrels, he just
Bjergsen's almost 6. Bjergsen's about to hit 6 off like 1 or 2 more minions here.
He could be okay on disarm though, just orange it. Interesting fight to take. However, if you have a little more crowd control as Grig hovers the top side, Keen may not be able to get out of the situation. Mithy was hovering towards the mid as well, and they had a very big pinch to try and get some resources towards Bjergsen in the beginning of the game.
And they've called over some people though. You can see FlyQuest have 2 people on the right side here.
There it is. Disarm on Keen. He's going to get the orange to get out, but there's the crowd control we were talking about. After the first few steps, he tries to get away. He's completely locked down, and first blood going over to Grig.
That was really, really well played there from Bjergsen. He threw out the ultimate, and then he set up the E and didn't throw it until he absolutely had to hit confirm the stun.
So they turn up the heat just a little bit. We'll see this play one more time. And Bjergsen not really changing his play style either for this. Not alerting Keen, anyone else is there.
There's the E, and you say, boom, he already used the orange. So Keen eats the stun there. There's no way he can get out. Still has his flash available, and doesn't flash towards his team because Mithy was also on that side too on the right. Ooh, right by Sven. Almost hitting him there. And something you have to worry about is Keen, he's level 6 now. Granted, he doesn't have the ultimate anymore because of that gank, but when he does have it, you have to watch out as the Varus. The ultimate will come down, it slows and allows Quan to get closer for hooks or depth charge, and that's where I feel like you want to attack as FlyQuest is. You want to attack this bottom side of the map. You want to attack Sven and Mithy as much as possible. And you want to kind of keep your mid lane safe. Oh, wait, Mithy?
One more hook. They have enough damage to just straight out go for them. Sven, he doesn't have a target to attack. Mithy goes down.
That was right on point. The hook lands as Wild Turtle dings 6. That is a very coordinated play there, saying go ahead and get in there because I'm going to have the Pyroclasm and I'm going to be able to burst them down. Watch this one more time. He throws out the hook and Wild Turtle hits 6 at pretty much the same time. Throws it, there it is. It's already in the air as Wild Turtle's hitting 6, and that's where they go in and confirm it. And that is perfect execution there from this bottom lane duo of FlyQuest.
Going to be rough. Mithy can still be a Tom Kench. Still can devour. But if he's going to be that squishy and can be the focus, it's going to be very hard for him to save any of his teammates. Turtle and Quan feeling good about this start on the bot side, and they're going to keep pressuring as well. Quan's able to just rotate out of lane now in these 2v1 situations as Sven and mid are up against Turtle, hopefully relieving a bit of the pressure, and Keen can get some help here in the mid lane as Bjergsen is really starting to kind of turn on.
Yeah, Bjergsen's at that point where once you get Tiamat, the Q from Aurelia makes it so that the Tiamat goes off. So you kind of Q, you walk up, you auto Tiamat proc in the melee minions, and then you just Q across pretty much everything. And we talk about mid lane mages having a lot of wave clear, and it's one of the things that allows you to roam. Aurelia can actually play the same role if she wants to, and quick wave clear waves in about the same time.
Obviously giving Keen a bit of trouble. It seems like Bjergsen can just walk up and take all of his barrels out before he even has time to clean out these waves. We see Greg backing in the jungle here as FlyQuest looks to gain a little bit of map control after some slow movement in the early game. It's 1-1, gold is basically even. And we see Flame actually starting out that Executioner's calling, so he can instantly cut down on Hanser's healing.
And you want that, because it's not just Hanser's healing, it's also Griggs, right?
Yeah.
There's a decent amount of healing that'll come through from these two members in the late game. So you have to buy it. And I actually really like that he did, because that's a large part of Mundo's kit. And before the buffs to his ultimate, Grievous Wounds kind of shut him down. Now Grievous Wounds puts him in a neutral place, so you have to have it if you're up against the Mundo.
Big, big buff, that ultimate for him. Kind of see players as well go one more item and then they'll get it, and they see the repercussions of not getting it first. Infernal Drake picked up by FlyQuest as things are looking topside.
Exactly, they're looking topside right now. There's 5 members of TSM looking for Flame.
Bjergsen comes over the wall and Flame's like, well, I might just decide to keep walking out of this one. There's down to about 300 HP. The final touches come through for TSM. Bjergsen picks one up for himself this time as Quan just a little late.
Yeah, and that was TSM being very proactive on the rotation there. And I actually think that that was not a good GP ultimate from Keen. He should have been throwing it on the wave to clear it so they can't dive on that wave, and it's a way riskier play. And it looked like he was just waiting for the fight to happen because he was not going to be in attendance. There's more TPs for TSM, and they have the rotation. That's going to be first turret.
And that was really on a TSM timer. Bjergsen had used the first one to get back. We saw him with the Tiamat for a while. It comes up. If anything goes awry, he can still get wherever he wants, but it turns out to be a kill and teleport back to lane. It's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
It is again.
And so they're able to just walk right by 3 people onto Flame who ditches the turret, and I think being able to defend him under the turret is a much better play. Even though Quan is there and trying to reinforce, you would want to walk towards the Nautilus, but I think that that's one where it's a very hard to position correctly when that pressure is on you, because you're saying they're going to dive me in 5 seconds. You have to make the right decision with all that pressure, and your team also has to make the right decisions too.
Absolutely.
But it's good from TSM to put the pressure on and put them in those situations where they can misplay.
Turtle and Quan now switching up the map as we Flame and Hanser adjusting to the bot side.
Yeah, and it's a lot of getting the marksman out of that lane phase. Move Sven around the map to get him gold, because that lane was not going their way. It was actually Wild Turtle and Quan who got the kill onto Mithy. And so ditching that, but they got the Infernal Drake on FlyQuest side, so now there's no reason to be on bottom side. Go to the top side, get the Rift Herald, use the pressure from your bottom lane, and try to get this objective. And this may be TSM not giving this up without a fight, because they're fighting for mid pressure here, but Bjergsen is up. You can actually see Keen ditches a gigantic wave to show up here.
See if they can stop this fight. One thing TSM is always good at doing is stopping or turning something that you thought was in your favor into their advantage.
That's TP cancel.
Right now, they're about to get Quan first. Santorin still wants in so they can get into the side of Shelly, but Quan's gonna die to Shelly if he stays inside. He goes down immediately to Sven as the fight starts. Mithy drops as a retribution kill for the FlyQuest side. And now Grill going to Santorin. Will they be able to get it? No, they will not. That is going to be picked up by Bjergsen on the Rift Herald as they continue the fight. Turtle over the wall, flawless duet, locks them in place, and there's the ultimate coming from Bjergsen. He might have bit off more than he can chew, but the team is behind him, and now they're onto Flame. Sven still drilling the arrows into Flame, and now they're onto Keen. This is going to be all she wrote, and they knock him down under his own turret. Quadra kill for Hanser.
4 kills going over to the top laner in TSM. They run over that fight, and that was one that looked like it was going to go FlyQuest's way at the start. Mithy goes down early, and then TSM turn it around as Hanser gets in it.
Absolutely incredible fights, and we expect TSM to be not timid, but tempered in these early game fights. They take the map instead of the fight, but they took the fight this time.
Yeah, Hauntzer canceled the TP. Flame is on the left side, hesitant to go in. Quan is taking damage from the Rift Herald. They trade supports here, but watch. There's the ultimate from Wild Turtle, and it only bounces between Shelly and Mithy. And then Grig walks up, hits the eye, picks up the Rift Herald, and then Hauntzer gets them as they're retreating over the wall, able to get Wild Turtle, and then beautiful, beautiful stun there from Bjergsen.
Everybody follows up too.
And then he's able to just buy enough time there that they're able to walk around, and then Hauntzer, he's just unkillable right now. And that's crazy to say about a level 9 Mundo who runs into the latter half of the fight. Because the ultimates are down, the cooldowns are down. Wild Turtle had no Pyroclasm there to bounce between multiple members. And you can see a lot of damage was dealt there by the Marksman. Is still very relevant.
The question was, would that damage be able to be done if Mithy dropped fast? And that's exactly what happened. They lost that shield, that protection, and they still were able to dish out a hell of a lot of damage. Now to the bot side, they start to open up a little global gold on the side of TSM in a 5,000 gold lead, just like that.
Yeah, and it's going to get larger too because they have the Rift Herald that was actually picked up by Bjergsen. Grig got the last hit on it with the eye. It was Bjergsen who ends up getting it. I'm checking the gold right now. There's a decent amount on Sven. He has like 1,200 to spend when he bags. And then I assume there'll be a group up here towards the mid turret and then potentially Mountain Drake for TSM. Because now, once you have this type of lead this early on in the game, because we're only 15 minutes in and it's already 6,000, you can start rolling over these objectives. Go mid after buying with the power spike, go towards that objective on the bot side, and then come back mid. And I feel like the Mountain Drake will just help them accelerate the pace of the game. And they don't want to give it up here. But you got to watch for the Pyroclasm. You always have to watch for the Pyroclasm.
Grouping up.
And you also have to watch for the ultimate from Keen. Those are two things that in that last fight did not go well for FlyQuest, but can change the whole tide of the fight that would occur here. And yeah, they're just grouping up mid right now. Keen is going to go ahead and clear out this top minion wave and not be in attendance. And there's the Rift Herald to push this down. It's going to do a lot of damage, too. It'll only take a few more shots afterwards. And that'll be the last outer for TSM.
Knocked down and opened up is the map for TSM. Just 16 minutes in, they make a quick work of the resources on the side of FlyQuest as well. I wonder if this might be an observer, but 38 Silver Serpents, maybe 380. 380. For 500, but still, coming up towards 20 minutes, he's not been able to level up that ultimate one time.
I mean, he's not been able to farm.
No, not at all.
And remember, the minions scale up over time and stuff like that, so it's much harder to get to a point where you, when you're behind the curve, are able to just one-shot a minion wave or one-shot casters.
This is for Keen, by the way.
Yes, this is for Keen. He's down 30 CS, kind of behind the curve here on the GP, and you also have to consider that he gave up multiple minion waves to show up at that last fight. They didn't get anything in Grig!
Nice. They did not want to let that Mountain Drake go, and Grig did everything he can to grab it. Mithy now going down as FlyQuest do not leave this fight without something in their pocket. But they're also going to lose Quan. Now they might lose Keen. What an ultimate for Bjergsen. Nobody can even get out! And now it's Flame falling. Santorin's trying to get into the fight, but he's just dodging back and forth, trying to do what he can to save the last member, but TSM come up with a full ace.
They get the dragon, they get all 5 of members of FlyQuest, and now they're gonna get this mid turret on top of it. So far, they are just playing fast.
It's crazy to watch people play around the Aurelia ultimate still. You saw 3 members just tiptoeing, don't want to touch it, when's it gonna go? Oh my word, and instantly just suffocated by the rest of TSM members in a dog pile.
And suffocation is a great way to put this because they are just taking everything afterwards. They're choking them out of the game, and that was a fight that looked like FlyQuest want to take it. It sets up their win condition of having the brand. And we'll see this one more time. Grig walks up. That is crazy.
Thank you very much.
The ultimate from Santorin is what does the last bit of damage to it. And he got it as he's getting knocked back. Mithy drops, but then Quan is the one who drops in return. They don't have to worry about the GP ultimate. Wild Turtle doesn't have enough mana here to continue his combo after throwing down the Pyroclasm because he used a lot of his mana on the Drake. And then the ultimate there from Bjergsen
the ultimate does damage on contact, and then it does damage again when you walk through the barrier, so you can double dip on it when people are trying to run away. And he just did so much there, and you can see Bjergsen pretty much coming up huge in that fight. But Hansard, now he's unstoppable in my opinion. He's 2 levels up over the Darius. Sure, you have the Executioner's Calling, but look at this. The Darius has parts of a Trinity Force, has an Executioner's Calling.
Yeah, recipeing still.
And he's up against Hansard, who already has completed boots, 2 completed items of both resistances, and he's on his way to almost completing his 3rd item here.
500 in the
way
bank.
ahead.
Big things for the top laner of TSM. A great game on Aatrox yesterday, coming in with that pick, and now on the Mundo to control the side lanes. Basically, just kind of control the game in a sense. Greg doing a great job as he was moving around with Mithy, but Hansard was able to just keep pushing, saying, yeah, Flame's ready to be ganked. Bjergsen went up. That lane was nice and set up if they needed to use it.
Yeah, and in the last few minutes here, we're seeing Bjergsen just absolutely trounce Keen. Keen has gotten 10 CS in the last 3 minutes or so.
That's a good point.
And hasn't been able to increase it, whereas Bjergsen is just making this lead larger and larger, now at 60 above at 19 minutes.
That looks fun.
Yeah, once you have the Trinity Force.
Yeah.
'Cause the Trinity Force and the Tiamat, great combo. You add the Titanic Hydra Asterix on top of it, and it just feels really good. You basically are a wave clear like control mage in terms of how quickly you get rid of the minion wave with that.
And we did see how it kind of Bjergsen went through that build. Tiamat, the Titanic will come later as he finished up that Triforce throughout the game. Just about 20 minutes, he actually should have that item. These guys are hitting such a fast clip at where their power spikes are coming out. FlyQuest almost has to back up off each fighter now.
It's 20 minutes, and there's already an 11,000 gold advantage for TSM.
Yeah.
Baron has not spawned, and we're just
This
having
is that
the
getting hit with
item.
bags of money that really hurt. They're just swinging bags of money at you. Painful stuff. Gold bars in the bottom.
Ooh, and Wild Turtle, spent some of that money that he had. He got the 2 penetration items, which you need, but then he now has Azonias, thinking he's going to be one of the primary targets here. And he will be, especially from Bjergsen, who can dive in the backline. And that's the thing, is bruisers cause a lot of havoc because they usually have some type of gap closer, or they have a way to just rush past. Trying to get the Mundo out of your backline is frustrating with the tenacity from his W and the movement speed from his R. And then the Aurelia just dives in and tries to make it so that there's so much in terms of disruption in those backlines. So you have to kind of peel and deal damage and survive at the same time. Very difficult as members of FlyQuest here, especially when they're this far behind. Because TSM now,
And
they're closely ahead.
I kind of want to look at that and how they're behind. TSM, we say they're a team that kind of wants to play back to the way they do it. Kind of normal composition, AD carry, support. Bjergsen not being on AD mid is different. But TSM has always been a good team at team fighting. They've always been able to organize very well and orchestrate whatever they need to do. So if teams are going to fight them earlier and they still play standard, almost seems like they're absorbing this now at 20 minutes. This isn't going to be a 40-minute game.
Oh, no. I would say if this is a 40-minute game, then FlyQuest stand a chance. But even then, they're up against a marksman that's going to keep scaling. There'll be Azonias eventually on Sven.
Yeah.
And now, looks like a 2-man Baron here with people showing up later. I love this because look at the vision. There's like only a ward out. 2 wards out on the field. Almost nothing here on the side of FlyQuest. And as they're trying to clear vision and push up, Baron's actually going to drop it. Oh, wait. There's GP ultimate. Mithy, I think, is going to... Oh!
Close. He does get it, though. Smite was...
No, I love that from Grig, though. Grig flashed into the pit, said, we have to get this Baron, and then he smites it. That's the kind of dedication that you want to see to from a jungler who's going to give everything to make sure that they secure it.
To the top. He's just saying we need to get this wave as far out as possible. They're going to be inside our base very soon. TSM has not stopped with this advantage yet.
And they're not going to stop either. Banner of Command just picked up for Mithy. The Baron buff fresh for 3 minutes here. As soon as that cannon minion walks up in the next wave, they're going to be able to buff that, push down with it. And I would assume they would push more so than get the Ocean Drake and have Hansard on the side split pushing, but they are just so far ahead now on the side of TSM that this is something that TSM fans, it can really be hopeful about this, because TSM just came off their worst playoffs in the history of the organization. You come back in, subbed out the jungler, and you got Greg in here, but the team seems to be operating really well in that mid part of the game. This game, they showed a lot of early game prowess, but that's something that you want to see started the week off 2-0.
Yep.
When the team just had a catastrophe in the last split.
It was very, very strong early game. The choice for Hanser, choice for Mithy and Grig to all be there to hit up Santorin, and Flame choosing to go to lane first with that priority seemed to really kind of flop that early part of the game.
Look at that, TP to the top side from Bjergsen, keep the pressure up. And this is just a full court press here. They got the bottom side, they got that inhibitor, they left that super minion, or I guess the bannered up minion there, and now they have 4 people strong in the mid lane, 1 in the top with Bjergsen, who can pretty much duel everybody on the map. He's 70 CS above Keen. It's not going to get better anytime soon because he's getting solo experience, he's getting solo gold over there. Nobody's stealing those waves from him. He's 2 levels up over the GP.
See, the Turtle can get a good ultimate into the fight.
I think this mid turret's about to die. Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Mundo has so much extra AD from
so
his
many things to think about right now for FlyQuest. Multitasking everywhere on the map. Bot lane's about to be squeezing in soon as you see it crashing down towards the second tier turret that's down. And this inhibitor is going to fall immediately. Flame gets hit, can't even retaliate with the rest of the team. Everything they're doing is in defense. In the last turret, they may want to activate under, but they cannot do it.
And this may be TSM getting all 3 inhibitors in 3.5 minutes that they had the Baron buff, because they spent 30 seconds of that going back to the base. So 3 minutes is all it might take for them to take the whole base here.
Irene, cut it off, the slow bleed. It just keeps bleeding.
But look at that. There's so much damage to these Nexus turrets coming through from these minions.
Oh my word. There's nothing they can do to
can't
stop
defend
it.
it.
Quan has to go
Fight.
in. Quan tries to make a little bit of a play here. Stop up Hanser, seeing if anybody will take a bite, and Bjergsen goes in because he knows they can play with their food at this point. 25 minutes coming up on the clock. The last Nexus turret going down. And the Nexus in the eyes of TSM, as well as a 2-0 start to the summer split. TSM take down FlyQuest.
And in 24.5 minutes, if you're a TSM fan and you blinked, you would have missed it.
What happened?
Exactly.
Exactly.
That was a blitz of a game there. It actually ended up being 25 minutes exactly on the clock.
It did? That's awesome. I like it.
Only 4 deaths to TSM's name. And they were able to just roll over FlyQuest completely.
3 deathless members in Hanser, Grig, and Sven. I don't think that says like how, bad was it that FlyQuest did things. That just shows how quickly TSM got those few fights and were ahead. When somebody's that far ahead of you, the option to kill them starts to dwindle very quickly. So the fact that they have 3 deathless members mean that catapulted a lead for them very fast.
And I think a lot of this originated from the mid lane. They were able to protect Bjergsen, set him up with the push advantage, and then he was just bullying Keen, even from level 1 off that invade. The jungler had the buff first, had the level 2, got to control the bottom side, and even though Mithy died early, I don't think it mattered that much because they played the map well, they swapped the lanes, they got first turret, they got the kill, and they got the pressure off of that. And the team fights around the objectives were the things that kind of broke the camel's back. But I think that TSM were playing proactive, they were avoiding the win condition of the other team, and that they used Bjergsen as a really good pivot in this game on Aurelia.
Woo. All right, well, we are going to now send it down to Abali, who is standing by with TSM's newest member, Grig.
Thanks, guys. Great. Congratulations on your 2-0 TSM debut weekend. What did you think of your performance?
It went really well. Yesterday's game was a little bit difficult, but today's game went really smoothly, so that was really good.
Now, joining a team like TSM, you're going to be facing a lot of pressure straight off the bat. So how do you deal with it, and what makes TSM different from your previous teams?
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure since TSM is such a popular team, and I came in the summer split. But TSM is different from other teams because everyone's super dedicated, super good, and they're really easy to work with. So it's really awesome.
And speaking to that, it was announced that you'd be splitting time with Mike Young in the jungle. What's it been like working and training alongside him?
Mike's super cool. He's super nice. He's always willing to talk about about playing jungle. So it's really awesome, and he's really good too. So yeah.
Well, great. Congratulations again on your victory. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. A very fast victory here out of the TSM squad today, as once again, they kind of approached the game with a relatively standard comp, as we're calling it, with all the craziness, up against, yet again, a non-standard bot lane coming out of the FlyQuest team.
And it's pretty nice comp overall. While like it's still standard, it's using all the power picks in the meta. You have the Mundo, you have the Aurelia, the Trundle, all these things. The Varus is one that not seeing a ton of play, but it's not getting destroyed either. It does make sense in the meta.
And when I looked at FlyQuest as well, they have one of the stronger bottom lanes that people are talking about. You can be very lane dominant with Brand Nautilus. And then I think they tried to fix their issues that they had yesterday of not being able to kill Mundo Trundle. Like they actually played against Mundo Trundle yesterday by saying, okay, Darius will be able to bully him in laning phase. Gangplank will give us late game damage. Brand does a lot of % health. So I think they tried to tweak, but then it just comes down to execution.
Right, because this is one of the teams that you had the most qualms with in terms of the totality of their composition coming out of day one.
And the GP in particular I like because it allows you to get some wave clear and global relief around the map, so you can kind of just alt waves in a game that's normally very snowbally. When you have a bot lane like Brand and Nautilus, it gives you a little bit more stability around the map.
But I want to talk about then how these teams both interacted within the game and some of the intelligent adjustments that TSM, made given the power of that bot lane Brand Nautilus.
TSM's been really smart, actually, because you look at the struggle that this lane actually is for the Tahm Kench Varus. They're getting poked out heavily by the Brand. They actually pull off the kill here with a level 6, get some nice bounces on the Brand ultimate, Mithy dies. But then you can still lane swap. You can still get out of that lane. TSM actually sends 5 people to the top lane to get the kill and the turret.
That's the thing. There's so much focus on all the crazy picks going on. You need to remember the game is fundamentally still the same thing. So you get counter-picked in your bot lane, post 6-7 minutes, just say, get me out of here. You go topside, you dive the top laner. Aurelia has priority in the mid lane against the GP and goes up there and makes that play. And you can do that against any of these counter picks. You can still make good, intelligent macro plays, even if you're against Swain and whatever else.
Yeah, and the highlight is obviously the Mundo Quadra kill that happened later, but the thing that really got TSM in that position was the fact that they lane swapped. It put them in the driver's seat where they were actually on their back foot before that. They wouldn't have been able to invade that Rift Herald if they hadn't have made that play before.
Absolutely. So the lane swap does come through for the squad. Pretty crazy to see both Mundo topping a damage chart as well as that beautiful gold graph for TSM. Yeah. So feeling really good about their 2-0 weekend. Of course, Ovly was talking to Greg just moments ago. Want to get you guys quick thoughts on how he played so far here in week 1, of course, on the Trundle both times around, playing more of a supportive type style.
He's not a problem. And I think that's something that's very important for this team because you have such a strong bot lane duo. You have Bjergsen in the mid lane, Hanster in the top side. It's very important that you just go in there and fill your role. And he got really attacked level 1 at the start of yesterday. Got attacked level 1 this time, but with more support from his team. So he actually got the red buff this time around. And then they kind of played it out from there much better. So I think both games, nothing that was like, oh my God, what a beast. Did have some really nice smites and stuff and played the Trundle well.
Another conversation that we've had going on all weekend is this conversation around bot laners and how viable are marksmen still. And the conclusion is that, yes, they are definitely still viable, but I do want to talk about the Kai'Sa played by Sven yesterday and the Varus played here today for him.
Yeah, these are basically the same thing. We're repurposing the Kai'Sa graphic we built for yesterday that we didn't get to show. It's pretty much the same. You don't necessarily go the Doran's Ring on the Varus, but you actually go your Ginsu, so you get that Phantom Hit passive, and then you go Nashers as your second item, and then you go actually Death Cap. And I don't think he had the chance to go at this time.
No, he did. 25-minute game, you're not getting there.
Yeah, he didn't quite get there on the Varus, but he got there on the Kai'Sa. And while this build looks completely different, you're looking at this, you're saying, this isn't a marksman. It actually still plays largely the same way with these two champions, and you're still a completely auto-attack focused champion. You just do magic damage mostly instead of the physical damage we're used to seeing on marksman.
Yeah, and it's one of the answers to the puzzle of how can I get my game impact faster. The marksmen that we do see in the meta are these Kai'Sas where after Rageblade Nashers, you're online. Whereas Infinity Edge Static Shiv is more expensive than that, as well as is weaker during the build-up. Or the Ezreal builds that go Manamune into Trinity Force. That's much faster as far as how quickly they can get into the game. And even Doublelift yesterday, even though he did the Infinity Edge, he very cleanly built a bunch of 80 components so he could have scaling on his spells on the Xayah to get there. So expect more what looks like weird builds out of the AP or what looks like a bunch of random components because they're trying to buy as much time until they can complete and get that big power.
Yeah, looking to keep the power curve kind of matching the rest of the game state. Now we're going to step away. When we return, Team Liquid load onto the Rift versus the Golden Guardians. Don't touch that browser. The NALCS. We'll be right back.
Let's go, guys. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
Mithy?
One more hurt. They have enough damage to just straight out go for them. Sven, he doesn't have a target to attack.
Yes, good.
Wait. Stairs.
Good job, guys.
Kill GP.
Don't know. He has stopwatch, but don't know about flash. All he has.
We can.
Think about stopwatch.
Nice.
What an ultimate from Bjergsen. Nobody can even get out. And now it's flame falling. Santorin's trying to get into the fight, but he's just dodging back and forth. The 2-0 start to the summer split. TSM take down FlyQuest.
Welcome to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. Since we know the importance of lending a hand, we want to highlight players and plays that help the team bring home the big W. If you have a favorite assist from this week that you want us to highlight, tweet the clip with the hashtag NALCS and the hashtag State Farm Assist, and we may feature it in a future episode. So get out there and bring some support.